These were my top 5 most anticipated games of 2023. But little did I know that a game called Baldur's Gate 3 would come out and take over my entire life. See, Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that I was barely aware of, let alone excited for. I had never played a Baldur's Gate game before, and honestly I hate turn-based games for the most part. But when Baldur's Gate 3 released, I heard nothing but an insane, and I mean an insane, amount of praise. Like, we're not just talking random gamers on Twitter saying this is a great game. I mean, people were claiming it was the best RPG that they have ever played. And these are people who are big in the RPG content creation circle, people I'm inspired by as a smaller content creator. So naturally I was like, okay, I have to check this game out. So I watched some gameplay and I sat there thinking, seriously? This is everyone's game of the year? And the best RPG ever? Are you serious? Like the smooth-brained idiot that I am, before finally sucking it up and dropping £70 on the game. And now I have over 1,000 hours on the game, and I can genuinely say, Baldur's Gate 3 is not only the best game I played in 2023, it is honestly my favourite RPG of all time. The amount of RPG options that this game has makes my tiny brain hurt. Not only do you have specific dialogue options for, say, the race that you choose or the class that you choose, but you even have unique dialogue options sometimes based on your class and race put together. Like if you're not just a wood elf but a wood elf druid, you would get special dialogue for that sometimes. And that's just insane to me. Seriously, I got this game expecting not to enjoy it, or at least not to enjoy it much, mainly for 2 reasons. Reason 1 being that, again, I simply just dislike turn-based games for the most part, with a very, very few select exceptions. And reason 2, because, look, if I'm being 100% honest here, half of the games that everyone screams are absolutely amazing, I usually find to be pure cheeks. But with Baldur's Gate, it only took me escaping the Squidman ship at the start of the game to sit back in my sweaty gamer chair before I actually said out loud to myself, okay, I get it now. I have finally reached the 1,000 hour mark of Baldur's Gate 3, and that's why I decided to make this video. Because, yeah, it's time for me to publicly say that this is the best RPG ever made, in my god's honest opinion. And you throw mods on top of that, and yeah, this is my new Skyrim, dude. I seriously see myself playing this for the next decade at the very least. The day I first played Baldur's Gate 3, it was about 9 AM when I booted up the game. And I remember that vividly because the next thing I knew, the sun was somehow rising. Seriously, I wish I was making this up. I walked downstairs to everyone congratulating me on waking up early, and I just smiled like Homelander, knowing full well I hadn't even slept yet. But at its very core, Baldur's Gate 3 is so much more than just a fun game I stayed awake all night playing. Just yesterday, over a year since I first started playing, I honest to God thought it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I checked my phone and it was midnight. And I somehow didn't realise that I had been playing Baldur's Gate for like 12 fucking hours. I've been trying to think about it for a few days now, but I seriously think that the last game that made me pull an all-nighter without even realising it was an all-nighter was Fallout 4. And it's insane to think that I still haven't even done everything in Baldur's Gate 3. I still have never completed a Dark Urge playthrough, although I've started like 20 of them. I've never really done an evil or bad boy choices. I have never seen every companion's doink scenes because I just fucking Lego Batman Shadowheart every single playthrough without fail. And now I have mods that let me customize my companion's looks to my own liking, so I can finally change that pure Dongwater Shadowheart hairstyle. Mods for new dice, new feats, uncapping the level cap, new armor, weapons, classes, and soon missions. Forget about it. I'm so addicted to Baldur's Gate 3 that my social life has been cooked rawer than Anakin Skywalker. Just a few weeks ago, I met a few friends at a pub because, you know, I'm British and it was an average Tuesday afternoon, and someone asked me what my favourite class is in Baldur's Gate 3, and I sat there for 2 fucking hours explaining why a Ranger Druid gives me a high that a blunt from Snoop Dogg himself can give me. And it's not just the amazing multiple choices in this game, it's really just Well, just everything. The character creation, the insanely fun combat in a system that I usually don't even like, the quests, the top tier voice acting especially, the overwhelmingly stunning cutscenes. Like, seriously, I can't be the only person who would watch an entire 24-part animated Baldur's Gate series in this style in one sitting, right? The romance, the world, the creatures, again, the dialogue, the secret areas, the armor, the weapons. Saying Larian Studios delivered an amazing game is a goddamn understatement. And yes, I do feel like the love of my life just broke my heart into tiny, pathetic, laughable pieces, knowing Larian have said that they have no plans for a Baldur's Gate 4, but if they can pull this amazingness again, I don't give a shit what their next game is, dude. It could be a 9-to-5 office worker simulator and I would pre-order it in a heartbeat without a second thought. They could honestly release a Baldur's Gate 3 DLC where you just watch grass grow for like £20 and I'd buy it, because Larian has proven that they are without a doubt currently the best company in not just the RPG business, but the gaming business as a whole. And look, I'm not just trying to jerk off everyone at Larian Studios, the game has its problems. Some of the quest design here is nothing short of atrocious, and yes, Charles Gauntlet, I am talking about you. If I could mod you out of the entire game, I would. I think not letting us customize companions was a huge L. It sucks that it's something that you have to mod into the game, because it was something that thousands of people wanted, and we never got it, and we will likely never see it outside of mods. The game has bad stuff about it, just like every single game that exists. I can still only very rarely open chests that I dig up. They often just bug out and don't let me interact with them. This has been an issue that I've had literally since I started playing, and it still isn't fixed. The jumping mechanic still sucks donkey ass, although they've tried to fix it like 5 times. The game does have its problems, but the thing is, the problems are so small. When you have a game that's like near perfection on every single possible level, who cares if it has 8 or 9 problems? The other 500,000 things work amazingly, so you ignore it, you move past it, and it sort of just becomes like not a big deal. And I think the top thing for me here is just the immersion. I get so immersed in Baldur's Gate 3, it's laughable. I sit at my camp reading the books I found. I find myself giving my characters entire backstories, like I roleplay in Baldur's Gate 3 way more than I do in any other game. When I give my character long hair, I come up with a reason that they have long hair. My newest character is a ranger because that is my favourite class in the game, and my headcanon is that his father taught him archery as a child, and as a kid he always sucked at it. One day his parents were killed and he tried to take a shot at the murderer with his bow and missed. So he spent every single day for the last 15 years training with his bow because he blames himself for the death of his parents. Like, yeah, I've come up with backstories and stuff for my characters in other RPGs, especially in games like Skyrim and Fallout, but never like this. I made a character once that had short hair because I imagined that her ex-husband used to abuse her, so she cut her hair short so he couldn't grab it, and now she has a fear of somebody grabbing her hair in battle, so she's always kept it short. This game is insanely immersive, and you know what I think it is? That song. That goddamn song. Hearing that theme song as soon as you boot up the game, it gives me chills sometimes, it seriously does. It's so beautifully made that as soon as you hear the first couple of notes, you're already immersed. And you know what, something that I think is very underrated about Baldur's Gate 3, and something that helps massively with the immersion, is there's almost no restrictions in this game. You know how in video games you'll need like a key to open a little door, and you spend like 15 minutes looking for a key and you're just thinking to yourself, it is a wooden door and you have a fucking axe, my guy, just knock the damn door down, right? Like, we've all been there, we've all had that moment in a game, I'm sure. Well, guess what? You can do that in Baldur's Gate. You can break down walls and doors. You can spread oil on the floor and shoot a flame spell at it to cause a giant explosion. You can trade with almost every character you meet. It feels like a real, living, breathing world. Did you know that Baldur's Gate 3 apparently has 17,000 different endings? I mean, not full endings, of course, but like 17,000 different things that can slightly change a piece of dialogue or a cutscene, or who's where. Nobody is ever going to see all 17,000 endings. This game is different for that single reason. Everybody has a different experience, just like the real world, and that is what makes Baldur's Gate 3 an insanely immersive and fun and wonderful game. Though I still think my favourite part of the entire game is Santa Gandalf randomly turning up to eat your camp's food and tell Gale that his ex-girlfriend wants him to kill himself. But that brings me onto another topic, the companions. Without a doubt, this game has the best companions I've ever seen in a video game. Actually being able to play as your companions, control what they do, change their armor and weapons, and these characters actually go through shit and change their perspectives on lives depending on the choices that are being made around them, and they have influence on the story. I know I already said this, but I really cannot stress enough, these characters feel like real people. They are written in a way that makes what they say seem like something a real person would say. Too often do we see games with dialogue that just makes you sit back and think, who the fuck talks like that? And I actually don't think I've ever thought this about Baldur's Gate. Now, the hand-holding in Baldur's Gate is... Now hear me out. Somewhat another bad thing about this game, until you get used to it. Then it's kind of amazing. Like, it's difficult to explain. At first, like when you first play the game, you feel so overwhelmed by everything, especially if you've never played things like Dungeons and Dragons. You have no idea, or at least I assume you have no idea what most of the stuff means. And while that does suck at first, when you get the hang of it, the lack of hand-holding is honestly pretty great. It's like the perfect amount. Act 3 definitely feels overwhelming, especially on your first ever playthrough. Like, I was super overwhelmed when I got to Act 3 that I actually just turned the game off and I didn't play it for a couple of days. You get to Baldur's Gate and then you're just like, okay, wait, where the fuck am I going and what am I supposed to be doing? But again, second, third, fourth and 50th playthroughs, you're fine with it. At least that was my experience. Honestly, the run has given the new gold standard for not just RPGs, but video games in general. Every single RPG, especially, is going to be held against Baldur's Gate 3 now. And honestly, it kind of should be. Like, dude, I'm looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6, but Bethesda have got to live up to this now. And I know they won't, but they have to. That's just what it is. Otherwise, people will say Elder Scrolls 6 is good, but it's not as good as Baldur's Gate 3. Because this is the new gold standard in video game RPGs. The thousands of different ways that this game can play out, the maturity, the seriousness, and the funniness. Like, come on, this game has some sad-ass moments, but I will never not laugh at Gale's reaction after I slap his hand away.
A hand? Anyone? Ow! Perhaps I should have clarified? A helping hand?
You know what, I'm gonna get a little bit deep here, but I will keep it short. This game fucking saved me this year, dude. I mean, along with a bunch of other great games, sure, but still. If you watch my content regularly, or if you're on the Discord especially, you know that 2024 has been like the worst year of my entire life. My depression, anxiety, and, shall we say, self-unaliving thoughts all took a turn for the worst and skyrocketed higher than they ever have before. But you know what got me through it? Games, dude. Immersive games, like Baldur's Gate 3. Being able to just sit at my desk for 10 hours and go and live in another world is something that's really not appreciated enough. Like, it's amazing that we can do that and that we have games that can do that for us. I get to go and be someone else for a little while. I get to turn my brain off and shoot goblins with a bow and flirt with a hot emo Shah enjoyer and forget about all of the negative bad shit going on in my actual life. Baldur's Gate 3 is just so good that it kind of makes me sad.
What the fuck is this loot talking about?
Because I just know that deep down no other RPG is ever going to live up to this, at least not for a very long while. Like, I'm hyped for GTA 6, I'm hyped for Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6, I'm hyped for a lot of RPGs or semi-RPGs, but I know that none of these games will be as good as Baldur's Gate 3. None of those games are going to be this immersive, or have this many options and choices, or truly let you mold your own story like Baldur's Gate 3 does. And look, if they do, I'll happily eat my words, but like I keep saying, this is the new gold standard. And in my imagination, it's going to be at least another decade before another game can live up to this. The post-launch support alone has been flabbergasting. They added the magic mirror to let us change our appearance, they added console mod support, they added hundreds of bug fixes, they added entire new cinematics, new quests, new endings, all free of charge, just because they could. You want to see what Baldur's Gate 3 would have looked like if a company like Ubisoft made it?
No, 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 no.
Thing is, we laugh at that, but that is what most other games are like nowadays. And it's not even over yet. Next year we're getting crossplay, so PlayStation, Xbox and PC users can all finally play together. We're getting 12 new subclasses, with new animations, abilities and new dialogue. We're finally getting photo mode. They have done so much, and they could stop all updates right now. Actually, scrap that, they could have stopped all updates a long time ago at this point, and Baldur's Gate 3 still would have gone down in history as one of the best RPGs ever created, and would have still been the new gold standard. But no, they keep on going, they keep giving us shit. They aren't relying on modders, they aren't charging us for useless fucking armor or a new shiny sword. And honestly, it's just sad that this isn't normal, because this is what every game developer should be doing. If there's anyone watching this that works for a game studio, this is what you need to be doing. This is how much love and effort you should be putting into your games. This is how much you should be supporting your games. You don't even need to do this much. Just half of what Larian Studios is doing, and the vast majority of people will be happy. This game really is for everyone. Well, you know, besides little kids that definitely should not be playing Sex Simulator 3, but seriously, it is for everyone. It has something for everyone. If you like hard games, Honor Mode. Games too challenging, customize your settings to your own liking. Dude, it's actually pathetic that I'm sitting here praising the game for having custom difficulty settings. How is this not the norm for all games? But that's another reason why Baldur's Gate 3 just makes me kinda sad. Not just because I know it will probably be another 150 years until another game manages to live up to it, but because I think it just showed me how fucking little effort goes into some other games. Because Baldur's Gate 3 is a complex game. Every time they add something new, they need to think about how it changes, breaks, or ruins one of the other 10,000 things in the game. It isn't Minecraft where you can just throw in a new block item for people to use and be done with it. And I'm just like, if Larian Studios can do all of this, why can't we get this kind of support for other games? Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of my favourite games of all time, but there was like zero post-launch support for it outside of Red Dead Online. No new missions, no new weapons or horses or locations or cutscenes, not even a paid DLC. I mean, look at a more recent game like Spider-Man 2. I think it's fair to say that the game was a disappointment for the vast majority of people, and Insomniac have done absolutely nothing to try and fix that. No changing of quests, not even any DLC. All they've done is add in a couple of new Spider-Man suits. Even a game like Starfield, that fuck you, I don't care, I love, and think has honestly had fantastic post-launch support, it still doesn't even come close to Baldur's Gate 3. But anyway, look, I feel like I've ranted enough. This is easily the longest video I've ever made. I usually make really quick, straight to the point content, but all of this just really needed to be said. This video was originally over 40 minutes long before I cut some stuff out, so it's easily the most effort I've ever put into a video as well. So if you would be so kind, please do leave it with a like and consider subscribing to fuel my ego. Lastly, as always, a huge thank you to every single one of the channel members for their continued support. It means everything, guys. Thank you again. Anyway, that is how Baldur's Gate 3 has ruined my life. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time. Peace.